We're seeing nearly flat trading on Tuesday for the Dow and S&P 500, but we're seeing some downside pressure for the Nasdaq, and this does come as some tech names are lower today. So joining me now is Alan Valdes of SilverBear Capital. Alan, great to have you here today.
Thanks for having me, Remy.
Well, only a few more days until the end of the quarter, as well as the 4th of July. So summer doldrums are already here, but we can expect that in the coming sessions as well. So what do you make of today's action?
Well, a lot was off of yesterday's durable goods. That order was, however you look at that number, it was pretty bad. And actually, in the last 10 days, more money has inflowed into the 20-year bond ETF than all the other domestic equity funds combined. So there's a lot of money leaving the market. And, you sometimes see this in 6 months after the, intervals. Because a lot of guys, especially traders, they just want to get out and lock up their money. I mean, they're up probably about 8% so far this year in realistic terms. They want to lock it up and just see what goes on the rest of the year.
And when we're talking about global equity markets or other asset classes, we can't forget about central banks. Now, today we saw the euro pop higher. This came on some comments from ECB's President Mario Draghi. But given that Janet Yellen will also be speaking today, what's your outlook for rate differentials?
Yeah, you're right. She's speaking in London, as a matter of fact, today. I think she's got to cut back on a lot of this. I mean, I think, like I said, that durable good orders and what's going on in the bond market kind of shows you that inflation's not around here at all, and that if she starts to really shrink the budget, shrink her book, it could have big ramifications on the stock market, on the equities, which we've seen in the past.
And we can't ignore what we're seeing in technology, but given that Google received a record $2.7 billion fine for its practices in the Eurozone, what do you make of that, and where do you see tech going in the near term?
That's maybe why the euro's above the dollar right now. All that money coming in. I don't think so. But, I think they're going to go back and forth, the euro, the dollar for the rest of the summer. And the techs have to be careful. These fines are so big. I mean, Google can pay a $2 billion fine. It's still huge. But, these techs have to be careful going. It's a kind of gray area, though, I think, for them. It's got to be more defined so they know what's going on.
And we can't ignore what's happening in Washington, D.C. So what about healthcare? And we also have the bank stress test results coming out. So what do you see for healthcare and banking?
Well, healthcare first. Healthcare is critical. Even this sounds cold. It's critical not so much for healthcare, but for the markets, because if we pass that bill, that legislation, that opens the door for tax cuts, and Wall Street wants those tax cuts. This market's rallied because of that. But if we can't get the healthcare bill done, we're not going to get to tax cuts. So they want to see that. I'm on record saying we may not see that to 2018. This healthcare bill looks a little fugazi, so I don't know if we're going to see anything.
Okay, Alan. Well, thank you so much for your insight as always, and have a great day.
Thanks, Remy.